Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Happy New Year. Welcome in to And I Quote. This is a weekly show where we introduce you to some of the best creators from all over the world, and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this episode is indie writer extraordinaire Cyndi Brec is here. Hello, Cyndi. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Doing quite well, doing quite. We're happy to have you here, Cyndi. We're also happy to have you here who may be watching or listening to this program right now. So don't forget to like and share with your closest friends. And if you're watching us live or what is known as a replay, thank you so much for doing so. If you have any questions for the guest of honor, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. We are more than happy to hear from you as we go through the course of these proceedings. With all that being said, Cyndi, what would you say were some of your favorite books or writers growing up as a youngling?
Well, I definitely had a lot of books. I was into romance books and stuff like that, but I would say Stephanie Meyer's, Victoria Aveyard, Sarah Moss are some of my favorite books. I resonate with the fantasy aspect and the paranormal aspect of those books, but that's really what I like. And as far as like when I was younger and I read in high school and stuff, I can't tell you the books I read. I remember reading the Black Beauty and stuff like that, but I had to read, the nicer stuff. I couldn't read the high intense actions books though, but later on I got into that. So.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Nothing wrong with that. What would you say are some of your favorite TV shows, past or present? Anything stand out?
Well, I like Star Wars. I don't remember.
Nothing wrong with that.
No. And it's more, I like the action of Star Wars, but I like Narnia. I definitely, like I said, I like the Twilight, but I like a lot of the old mythical Greek mythology, things with Hercules, stuff like that. But I do like Die Hard, but I don't think Die Hard's a Christmas movie. I'm just putting that out there. I'm mixed emotioned on that one, but anyhow.
It's all right.
Those are some of the kind of movies I like.
Good picks too. I got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew? Hans, Bubby, I'm your white knight. Sorry, I could quote Die Hard all night long, folks. It's a good movie. It's fun. Here's what I'll say. It's Christmas-y, but it's not 100% full on.
Yeah.
Christmas movie to me. It's an action movie that just happens to take place during the events of Christmas Eve, Cyndi. That's my 2 cents.
I get that. I don't watch a lot of movies right now.
That's okay.
I'm immersed more into my world of writing. But if I have to gravitate really right now, especially the last 10 years, I'm hitting things like National Treasure, different books that have an archaeological feel to it. I'm trying to think. Tom Cruise played in a show that was kind of scary about an archaeological dig.
Oh, you mean The Mummy?
Well, The Mummy wasn't that with Brad?
You mean Brendan Fraser?
Yes, Brendan Fraser. But Tom Cruise played in one where they dug up a woman.
Yeah, that was a different iteration of The Mummy.
Okay. Well, hands down, that's my go-to stuff also. I like mystery. I like the romantasy fantasy aspect, but I like to dig into the mystery in the depths of what you could find with an ancient relic, an artifact. And I like to dive into real history, not like something that we just create. I create stuff around real history. That's what I like.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yes.
All right. Well, we may have a couple of what am I trying to say here? Book recommendations for you regarding that, because we have some good friends of ours at Veritas Entertainment who write the types of books known as the men's adventure fiction genre, which includes adventure, high fantasy, sword and sorcery, spy thrillers, that kind of deal. If that kind of clarifies. Just to give you an example here, if you don't mind. these are some of the books that Veritas has put out within the last year or so. So Pool of the Tide is a high seas adventure. Dinner for One is a noir detective. It's a Sam Spade.
Okay.
Lady Evil is a bit of a steampunk dystopian. Sunrise Over the Valley, as well as The Longwood Trail, are known as Western stories.
Okay.
Because who doesn't like a good Western? I mean, Eastwood, baby. Eastwood was the man. Cherry Blossoms by Midnight is a bit noir like Sam Spade. And then The Hound and the Scorpion is military thriller.
Mm-hmm.
If that kind of clarifies. And then the one you see here on your right, The Unwanted Passenger, that is about a pilot from the 19th who carries the mail, but he gets himself in these unfortunate situations, kind of like Die Hard, wrong place, wrong time. So it's a mixture of The Rocketeer meets Indiana Jones meets Die Hard to a certain extent, just a little bit of an extent. So if you're into that sort of stuff, I would recommend that you, and for those of you who are watching or listening right now, visit veritasent.com and check out Veritas Entertainment, because they are just doing an incredible job with all these different writers and all these different genres that they are covering within the context of men's adventure fiction. So
that would definitely be stuff that I would gravitate towards. I like the action and the mystery behind stuff, but I still have to say I like to anchor myself into a book that has that romance.
Well, there is a bit of romance in Unwanted Passenger, so you may want to sit. Just to give Terrence Mayhew, who's the writer of that series of books of Mitch Mayhew, a little bit of kudos here, Terrence, because you're watching, buddy. I know you watch this show. He watches almost every single week. Unwanted Passenger. I actually just finished reading that this week, Cyndi, just to give you a bit of a context here. That story moves so fast and it's so good. It's great. And I ended up giving it, full disclosure, without getting into spoilers, 5-star review on goodreads.com.
I have a pencil and I'm writing it down.
Okay, well, this is great. Everybody brought their pencils and their papers today for class. This is great. This means we're doing our job as educators.
Hey, that's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's an education.
Or fellow readers or fellow writers, because Cyndi and I are writers ourselves, so it makes perfect sense, right? So yeah, Terrence Mayhew is a great guy. He's written Mitch Mayhew, The Unwanted Passenger was the first one. He just came out with a sequel called Diamonds in Denver, which is also connected to the Mitch Mayhew character. That's the sequel that comes right after the events of Unwanted Passenger. And then he's got a one-off treasure hunting book called One Man's Treasure, which is set in modern day. It has sword fighting, it has punches, it has kicking, it has action sequences, it has traveling. It also has a bit of romance thrown in for good measure. So if you like romance, which I think that you do, please read One Man's Treasure, also written by our good friend Terrence Mayhew of Veritas Entertainment.
Yeah, I like romance, but I don't like it to dominate the plot mystery. So yeah, it's definitely part of the main story and it has to be there. But yes,
it's sprinkled in there. It won't overshadow the plot. Yeah. But I would recommend it. One Man's Treasure. That's another book that we spoke about it. I'm trying to think, when was the last time we spoke about this, Terrence? It was a couple of weeks or a couple months. I think it was a couple months ago. And I also gave that book a 5-star review on goodreads.com. So if anyone's curious, feel free to check it out. Let us know if you've read it or not, and let us know in those comments or the chat area here. We'd love to hear from you. With that being said, when did you start writing?
Okay, so I actually started writing and having interest in writing probably in high school, but I never really pursued it until about 14 years ago. I would say probably around 2011 when I started just getting into it. Then I started getting into the craft of writing and realizing I needed to know a lot. And so I boned up, I wrote the book and then I rewrote my initial first book, which was The Therans Series Beneath Scars. And I definitely work with professional editors and everything to get it going. But I would say right around 2011 is when everything was just set in my life that I had the time and I carved out more time to just write the story. But that was about the time that I seriously got more interested in it.
Oh, okay. All right. Makes sense. Definitely makes sense with the context of a timeline here. What would you say are some of the biggest rewards about being a writer?
You can live a simple, easy life, but if somebody ticks you off, you can write it on the page, give them a name, and get rid of them. Okay, now that's not the truth. I'm just teasing. I don't know, there's so many good things about writing. It's therapeutic, it's rewarding. It's something to talk about. Books, writing, it's inspiring, and you learn a lot too, not just as a person, but as a reader.
That's very true. That's very true. That's very true. The more I read, the more I figure out, some of the things I may want to write about, or just it gives me ideas, or it makes my brain just kind of go into creativity mode to a certain extent. Plus, and I'm going to piggyback off something that Cyndi said. It is very therapeutic. And here's the thing: this is one of our goals for 2026, is when I come home from work, because I have a full-time job. With all due respect, I come home from my full-time job, I have dinner, and then once I'm done dinner, Cyndi, I sit down. I have a virtual fireplace going because I don't have, an actual physical fireplace of my own, I'm sorry to say. But I do have this thing called a TV. And when you turn on your TV, you can put on virtual fireplaces for free, ladies and gentlemen. They're free, okay? You don't have to pay a nickel or a dime for this. And I have the virtual fireplace going, and all I do is sit there on my couch, and I read a book, and I just relax. And I go into this escapism kind of state of mind, and then I go to sleepy bye, and then I wake up the next morning, have my breakfast, sit down at my computer, and write for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of balance things out to a certain extent. But yeah, I got to be honest with you, my favorite part of my day is coming home, having dinner after dinner, and once I've had a chance to settle myself, and then sit down on my couch with the virtual fireplace just crackling and just reading a good book. Because I don't think there's anything quite better than sitting in front of an actual fireplace or a virtual one and reading a good book before you go to sleep.
Yeah. Not to disappoint you, but I have the real fireplace.
That's okay. I'll take this one and I'll raise you, because I actually have a physical one in my house and you don't. No, it's fine. I'm used to being last. It's okay.
No, I agree with you. There is just something very therapeutic, rewarding just about being able to kick back after a long day and actually do that. Now, keep in mind, I actually stay home and write full time. Not that that's my only job, because I take my job taking care of my family first is my priority. But yeah, I definitely like to kick back and read. But I have gotten to the point I'm actually on that momentum, because when I'm a seasonal writer, so when fall starts hitting, my mind starts percolating with ideas to write, and that's what I like to do. So right now I'm reading less and writing more.
Okay. So much for the balancing act. You're taking one out and putting one in. That's wrong. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever works. Whatever floats your boat, my dear.
It's not
all
one
right.
size fits all.
That is true. That is very, very true. Everybody learns and goes about certain things in their own way, and everybody has a different pace than the next person.
Yes.
And that's okay. I'm a bit of a middle of the road reader. Like, I can read a bit fast, but I don't want to read too fast because I feel like I'm going to miss something. So I'm a bit of a slow reader, I guess, in that aspect, but it's okay. If it takes me a certain while to get through a certain book, who cares?
I think the important thing is that if you are reading, you're enjoying it.
Well, yeah, there is that too. I mean, the one I'm currently reading right now, just to give everyone a bit of a heads up, I am reading the sequel to Unwanted Passenger, the Mitch Mayhew series written by Therans Series. I'm reading Diamonds in Denver, and I got to tell you, I'm only 2 chapters in, and this thing just moves so quickly, but it's so good. There's the banter between certain characters. I don't want to give away spoilers just yet, but the banter between these 2 characters that I'm speaking of, and for those of you who are familiar with the Mitch Mayhew series, you know who I'm talking about. It's just interesting to see how these 2 argue. It's just, to me, it's just kind of interesting. But Terrence, you're the man. That's all on your writing. But it's really cool. It really is. Diamonds in Denver is such a good title. It's such a catchy title. So catchy.
It is.
And I said to Terrence, Terrence, correct me if I'm wrong, but were you inspired to make the sequel that title because you watched a certain movie back in the day called Diamonds Are Forever, Forever, with Sean Connery in the James Bond movies? And he's like, yeah, I got inspiration from that. I'm like, no wonder this sounds familiar. Diamonds in Denver almost sounds like Diamonds Are Forever, which was sung by Shirley Bassey, believe it or not. Yes. That was before my Shirley Bassey. She performed 3 Bond theme songs for the franchise. Did you know that about her?
No, I didn't. I've watched a lot of the James Bond shows and stuff, but no, I didn't know that.
Well, no, it's okay. Okay, so fun fact.
I'm not a name person.
No, it's okay. That's what I'm here for.
I'm a date person, but not a name person.
That's okay. That's okay. Just to give everyone the fun facts. She performed the theme song for Goldfinger.
Yeah.
She performed the theme song for Diamonds Are Forever, Forever. Sorry, I got it stuck in my head. I'm sorry, Tara.
No, that's okay. No, you're going to end this and you're going to have it stuck in your head.
Yeah, probably. That's why I'm and I'm trying to remember the third one. The third one, I believe, was one of the was it one of the Roger Moore era films, Terrence? Correct. The third one is not coming to me right now. I don't know why, but we'll figure it out sometime later. But Terrence, let me know. Aside from that, flip side of the coin, though, what are some of the biggest challenges about being a writer?
Time. If you want to do it right, it's the time. You have to carve out that time. If you want this as your career, your passion, you have to set that time aside. I would say another big challenge is there's so many great authors out there, especially independent authors that have fantastic books, but you don't get seen. It's hard to get momentum going with your books and stuff like that. And promotion, I would say that is something that is difficult. But
small fish in a big pond, are we not?
Yeah, but I have to say, I mean, everybody wants recognition for their series or their book or something. I'm fine with the pace I'm going at. At the same time, I like the learning curve. It's because I'm learning more about me as a person and everything too. So whether it's through writing, reading, or trying to get my book series recognized. So, yep.
Understandable. So in the words of that PSA we heard when we were kids. Oh, yeah. Sorry, just had to throw that out there for instance. It happens sometimes. Any other pieces of advice you would offer to aspiring writers out there?
Don't give up. A long time ago, and because I've been at this for a while, a long time ago, if I'd listened to somebody that said, why are you doing that? Or, I don't understand how people could sit and write. And if I'd have given up, I would not be where I am today or the person I am today or have, the books that I have today. So, I mean, I have 5 short stories out related to the series. And I actually have 3 of the main books written. The second book that I have is released this May in the series, but the 3rd book's written and I'm writing the 4th book. So you don't give up on a dream. You just carve out time for it and move forward.
In the words of our good friend Morgan Freeman, she's right, There's a meme that goes around and it has him pointing up in the sky and it either says he's right, or she's right. People will, switch the words out a little bit here and there. You know what I mean? It just,
oh yeah,
just tends to happen. I don't know why. That's the beauty of the internet. You can create memes out of nowhere, or you can create them out of any kind of movie or TV reference too, because you can use certain references for other things. I'm just, what's the word here? I'm trying to think of paraphrasing it. Yeah, paraphrasing it. So speaking of writing and books and all these wonderful things we love to read, they're called books, ladies and gentlemen. So someone who's not familiar with the Therans Secrets Beneath Scars, what exactly is this and how did this come about?
Okay, so interesting story. The setting of Callie's world, which Callie's my main character, Callie Tresham, is actually a real setting. My husband and I owned the water mill for 20 plus years. We just sold it like 6 years ago, and they put over like $600,000 into renovations, but we're still a part of it. The big thing is I was at this mill and I love the mill. I love the rusticness of it, everything about it. And the aspect of being a writer, I mean, it just being in an environment that fueled creativity was just something natural. So I kept on, I remember the day distinctly. I had it like I don't know if you want to call it a vision or something, but just a thought. That thought percolated into a scene. And it got to the point that over time, if I did not write those scenes down, they would like kind of like stalk my thoughts. They would just like constantly like driving wherever. It got to the point that my daughter had to take notes when we were driving because I would have an idea, or I'd have a note book by my bed, and I'd turn on the cell phone and I'd be like writing something down. And my husband was like, "Are you done yet?" But it all centered with a true setting of an 1816 watermill, because the Therans, as like the title would say, they're stewards of history. And that's the significance to, you know, a real town, a real setting that you could anchor this book in. But I didn't just like stay there. Like, remember how we were talking about National Treasure?
Yes. Great movie.
Exactly. I like to travel. I love to see new things. I love to experience things. And I don't think that you just have to travel, unquote. I mean, I've been to Europe, Canada, all of that. 6 countries. Anyhow, but the important thing is those countries, those castles, that research found its way into my second book and my third book, whether it's the catacombs in Alexandria, Egypt, or whatever. I have taken a dynamic world of this trilogy and wrote a dual world trilogy. So you've got 2 lost civilizations that interconnect within the Therans series. And it's, how do you say, I didn't want to write just a book and then have it carry along with another story that's similar to the first, and the third book similar to the second. I took the first book, the character Callie finds out why she has the power of sight. She seeks to understand the origins of her powers. Instead, she stumbles across a conspiracy soaked in archaeological mystery. And that's where the romance that begins, because it's his history that collides with her history. But then second book, you get into the Theron world. And like I said, it's about, you know, they're stewards of history, but what history are they stewards of? You know, the history is always written by the victor, right? But not necessarily if you really think about it. There's always a second side to true history. And then that carries you into the third book, which gets into Egyptian hieroglyphs and everything, and the lost civilizations, Greek mythology, that kind of stuff. So it wasn't just one world that was created. It was 2 worlds that aligned with each other, that collided within the 3-book series. And then I have the pleasure right now of already having like 14,000 words written for this 4th book, which is the college years. The trilogy is actually The Secrets Beneath Scars, Legends Never Die, and I'm not telling you the 3rd book title, but those are all dealing with my character in her high school years. And then now I've done the research for book 4, which I don't know if anybody knows. In Seville, Ohio, there's a museum, really like interesting museum about the giants of Seville. And it's true, it's actual history. But there were these people, Captain Bates, that he actually was real, and so was his wife. But they lived there. They retired there after being part of the circus and stuff. But he was like almost 8 foot tall, and she was like, I think it was 7'9" or 7'8". But anyhow, I took them and put them into my story because I like to take history. I want people to connect with history because I think there's value in learning from our past occurrences, past mistakes, and everything. But I just think it's rewarding to see, what'd they do? What'd she do? And I'm all about writing with escapism in mind, at the same time with a learning curve you take away from the books. Because I don't think, I don't know. I just like that learning curve too. It adds depth to it. I actually put questions in the back of my book. Wait, I'm talking too much. Whoop. Sorry.
No.
I told you earlier I was a talker. You get me going, I'm going. I told you I'm a blonde and I'm going. I'm a talking head. Oh, silence there for a minute. Wow. No, we appreciate it. No, honestly, we appreciate you answering all these questions and diving into why why you wrote your books the way that you did, and all these historical little nuances you like to throw in there for good measure, which, by the way, that's really cool stuff. And it's funny you bring up National Treasure because not a lot of people bring up that. I mean, it does have its fan base, don't get me wrong,
but it's a really good movie. Sometimes it's just a tad bit underrated in some cases, but no. Nick Cage, when he was a bit more restrained, still had some caginess to him, but he was he was restrained. But yeah, no, National Treasure is great. I mean, Declaration of Independence being connected to the Freemasons and the Knights and the Crusades and the wars and the history. Like that stuff is just, I'm thinking to myself, and I could watch a documentary on this for hours on end, because U.S. history, world history, whatever it is, it's fascinating the things that we learn, and especially when there's a treasure involved, because Lord knows there's been urban legends and different kinds of stories about different kinds of treasures from different countries, different cultures and religions and all this stuff. It's so fascinating to me, and that's cool that the first series of these books of yours, as you're describing them, is for the high school years, and then we're going to transition to the Saved by the Bell, the college years.
Yeah.
Did Zach Morris or Kelly Kapowski cameo in these books? Probably not, but it'd be cool if they did.
Yeah, I like because it is fantasy. I like the it also it's kind of like a clash of how do you say National Treasure with like a Rick Riordan's Mythical Quest. Rick Riordan doesn't have, at least in some of the books I've read, he's not into the romance, but I like that fantasy making the impossible possible.
Ooh, okay.
I mean, it's just not going after a treasure. There's something more dynamic, something more rich, that something about history that connects the future to the present, whether it's a relic or whatever, or whether it's that your character has the power of sight, sees it as a curse, but how does that form into them being an instrument of prophecy, that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I maybe I'm weird in that aspect, but I don't know. I like to anchor something in reality, because the environment where we live right now, the mill that we used to own, that is 200 years old, they've had legends about on the property finding giant bones. It's written in books. So giant bones, they've talked about treasures. There's actually even fens. It's called FEN. So it's 3,000 years pre-bog. And so like the water at the fens is alkaline water. So like if a woolly mammoth fell into it, you could actually today take that woolly mammoth out and it should all be aligned. So, and this is discuss with botanists, everything. So, okay, I know I'm getting off track, but I wrote my story world around that property that has all that weird stuff, crazy stuff, wonderful stuff. And Tesla, this is my dog. Tesla, he's in my story too. So,
hey, you.
Yes, he's always right by my side. So,
oh, that's so cute. Such a sweet kid.
Yeah, he's an 80-pound love bug, even though he caused me to break 3 vertebrae 7 weeks ago.
Oh, dear heavens, folks.
Yeah, and I'm not reading that in the book.
I was going to say, I hope you're okay and recovered from this.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. It was the 3 vertebrae. Well, of course, there's more vertebrae than that.
Oh.
But it was the wings of the vertebrae. So they had to heal. Yeah, they're like a little wing.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But they had to heal like you would a rib cage.
Oh, okay. Got it. It's coming to me, folks. Ribcage. Got it.
Yeah.
Visualize this, for example. Yeah. No, I get it. No, we don't mind. Well, I'm sorry that happened to you, but no, the way you describe your books, I mean, in the words of Leo, at first you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. So this sounds.
So are you going to
really
read my
cool.
book now?
More than likely, yes. I mean, granted, my TBR, I mean, as we can see behind us here, this TBR on this bookshelf is like 100 plus. But if we're going to add 20 more to this stack, then so be it. Because one of my goals for this year is to finally, finish all these books that I have on my TBR. Some of them have bookmarks in certain places of their books, respectively, and others I haven't even touched yet. So my goal is to read as many of these as humanly possible, get them done. And as soon as I'm done reading each book respectively, as soon as I'm done reading a book, I go on Goodreads, I write my review, non-spoilery, by the way. There's no spoilers in any of the reviews I post for any of these books, because I want to make sure that if someone reads this, they're not going to be given all the clues. So I say, well, the character Mitch Mayhew is great because he reminds me of this, or the storyline moved me from A to B and this is why. So yeah, that my TBR is pretty extensive, but yes, I wouldn't mind reading your books. No, I would not. I would be happy to read them at some point. Yeah, I don't know when it's going to happen because, like I said, the TBR is like over 120 back here.
I respect that. Seriously, I totally respect that. I've got a long TBR too.
It's a very bad habit. I mean,
Yes.
buying books very, very good to me. Reading books.
But I'm a mood reader.
What's that?
I'm a mood reader.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you got to be a certain mood to read a certain type of story. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have a list, and there might be a book that I said I get to, but I want to be fair to that person that I'm reviewing that book for. And if I'm not into it and I can't engage with it, it's not fair to them that I read it. So personally, I wait and I'll get to it, but within a respectable amount of time, so.
Okay.
No.
That's understandable.
I mean, I'm a very fast reader.
Oh.
So yeah.
All right. I mean, like I said, everybody reads at their own pace. So, that kind of something you have to take into account, folks, which another thing we should take into account is this has been a great episode thus far of And I Quote with Cyndi Brec, our guest of honor. Don't forget to like and share if you're watching this live or on the replay. Thank you so much for doing that. If you have any questions for our guest of honor, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. More than happy to take those as coming respectively. So that series sounds really good, by the way. So have there been any special memories for you from being at book signings or other events, whether you're there as the vendor or there as an attendee?
Ohio has, which is where I'm from, they have this huge Buckeye Book Festival. And I just happened to be my first year pitching to get accepted. You have to go through this critique committee and be accepted. And, the Therans Secrets Beneath Scars was accepted. And this was just last November. And I'm new to all of this and stuff. And I decided, okay, I had to grab breakfast. And they were blessing that they gave us breakfast. So I left the table, went and grabbed just some eggs. And then my friend, author Linda Morgan, she comes running to me. Somebody's here. They want to meet you. And they want you to sign their book because they borrowed a book from another friend, but they came from Canton just to get my book signed and have a copy themselves. And I was like, okay. So I come running out. As I was running through the door to come out, somebody was coming in because they were like these swinging doors in the galley kitchen. So I could come out into the area, and I almost smacked somebody like through the door, but I come running out nicely paced and get out there. And I'm just overjoyed. It was one person that came from Ohio, but those things, just to see the expression on her face, the joy that my book brought her, that fuels me. So yeah, that's a really positive memory. And I've had other people that have remarked that my book series has been wonderful for them and stuff like that. But that was kudos. That was fantastic. I do have a second one if I could share it.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you. When I in December 8th, which would have been 2024, when I got the review from Teen Magazine. Now, my book has teen characters, but it's definitely high stakes, dangerous secrets, and sweet chemistry. But adults would love it and do love it. But it's definitely appropriate for teens. But when I got the rating back, that out of a 5-star, that it was a 4.5 in Zara Miller's expectations, that was just heart pounding for me. And now I know that's not necessarily like if I go to an event that you get that response at a book signing, but that was such a high impactful moment for me. So
that's amazing. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
That's really, now I mean, I hate to sound like a salesman here, but now I really got to read this series of books of yours. Gee whiz, if you find any of these things that may or may not fall off the back of a truck somewhere, feel free to send them over to us in our studios in Maryland, USA. Just throwing that out there as a for instance, but you and I can talk about that off camera. We don't have to do it here in front of 1.5 million viewers. Sorry, I'm making these numbers up as I go along, folks. I don't know if we have 1.5 billion, but hey, you know what they say, a person can dream, can't they? It happens every single day of the week, twice on Sunday. Don't question it. Do not question it at all. Who is an author, living or dead, that you would love to have a conversation with, and why?
Oh boy. Well, I know I'd like to have a conversation with Stephenie Meyers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she wrote Twilight. I like the books more than the movies, but I liked the last book in the movie scene in the switch better. But I think the reason why I would like to talk with her is just how did she, I mean, I know that she got that vision, but how did she write it so quick? How did like all of that come about, so fantastically? And why isn't she doing it now? Why isn't she got something out there now? I know there's always rumors of something, but she would be somebody that of course I would like to chat with, All
right. Nothing wrong with that. I did manage. Now granted, I didn't read the books because I'm not the target audience for Twilight. Sorry. But I did see the first movie in the theater with a bunch of friends, and I thought, okay, I've seen enough. I'm done now. I'm good. To
each their own. Seriously,
exactly. Yeah, it didn't work for me. In the words of Randy Jackson, it's a no for me, dog. It just does, just doesn't work. I will say this though, something that was similar to that came out a couple years later, which is also based off a series of books, The Vampire Diaries.
I've watched some of the.
I thought the early seasons were solid, and then it just became it just got kind of weighed down by its own success. I don't know what happened, but the early seasons between Katerina, and then her alter ego, which is her present character. I forget her name. But you got Stefan.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, what's his
I've seen him.
This is killing me. Stefan.
One had dark hair, one had blonde.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Was it Damon? I think it was Damon.
Yeah, I think you're right. He was the one with the darker hair.
The
one that was kind of bad.
He was bad boy. Yeah, he was the bad boy. Yeah, I think it was Stefan and Damon, if I want to say. But anyway, good series. Series.
But it did get weighted down.
It did get weighed down, but I did enjoy it a lot more than I did Twilight. I'm just saying.
Well, and people grow with their likes and stuff. Twilight for me was very slow. Oh. Now, if I were to look at things and look back, Twilight writing was slow, but that's okay. She wrote something that satisfied something, a love it. And, these people that are supposed to be soulless, and in reality, one has to try to fight with his moral compass. I mean, I'm very in depth behind the scenes of what provokes his character to do this and so forth. But I don't know. I just look at things probably a little bit different, but still, yeah.
No, it's okay. I mean, people's tastes, people's opinions change over the course of time. It happens all the time, so it's understandable. One author, I mean, there's a lot of authors I want to sit down and have conversations with, but one of them I would like to have a sit down conversation with. She wrote a successful series of books, not in the same genre as Stephenie Meyer, mind you, but still within the YA genre, and that would be Suzanne Collins of The Hunger Games.
Yes.
That's a conversation. I would do anything to have a conversation with her, because when I read, and this is going back a couple of years now, mind you, but when one of my brothers was a teacher, and he said, hey, my students have told me about this series of books, and it's called The Hunger Games. And he sat down and he read it because he wanted to understand what the hype was all about. And then he comes back to me a little bit later and he says, Ryan, you have to read this book. I said, what is it? The Hunger Games. You have to read The Hunger Games. I said, what it's about. I don't want to ruin it for you. Just
no. I've read parts of. I think I've read her first book, but not all of them. She anchors you. Okay, so you know what deep point of view is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think, as I understand it, she has that whole book series in deep point of view. Like it's like you're immersed into every scene. Gosh. And great writing. I mean, the craft of writing. So, I definitely love it. I liked The Hunger Games, but I would say for me, I like Victoria Aveyard, Sarah Moss even more. There's something about their fight scenes, their edginess of their story worlds that they come across with that engage me. I like dystopians, but not. I don't know, just not as much. But anyhow, but it's great. She's definitely talented.
Yeah, I would love to sit down with Suzanne Collins and be like, oh my gosh, this writing is so sharp, so immersive. Like, how did you do it? How does, like, honestly, there's a million questions I'd probably have for her because I've seen all the movies. I've read the first book. I got the rest of them over here, which is part of my TBR. I'm sorry. Haven't read Catching Fire. Haven't read Mockingjay. Haven't read The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Haven't read Sunrise on the Reaping, considering the fact that the movie adaptation, Sunrise on the Reaping, the trailer just dropped a month ago, and I got the hardcover sitting over here on my TBR shelf, and I have yet to read it, gosh darn it. So I got work to do. And Kelly, if you watch this show, she was a friend of mine. She is a diehard reader, diehard bookworm, reads pretty much anything in every genre under the sun. She said to me, how can you have not read Songbirds and Snakes? Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is good, but Sunrise of the Reaping is like even better. And I said, okay, I'm gonna buy copies of this, right? Because you have to have the book. I prefer physical media over an ebook. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. So I go to Amazon, which is the most addictive website in the history of mankind, and you end up buying all these books, Cyndi. Most of this TBR was either purchased. By the way, I'm not saying these are sponsors of the show by any stretch, but it's either through Amazon or the other one, which is a cheaper version of Amazon known as thriftbooks.com.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with thriftbooks.com, but that website can be just as addictive, if not more so, than the freaking Amazon jungle, my friends. So just pace yourself when you go on thriftbooks.com, because literally they have all the Hunger Games books, and they have multiple copies of each and every single installment of the franchise. And I'm like, I think I just want to get the box set so I can have the first 4 as a set, and then I'll just get Sunrise on the Reaping as a hardcover, which I ended up doing. Just full disclosure, just tends to happen. What is one book that belongs on every single person's bookshelf that is not one of the ones that you've written?
Narnia.
Which one? There's like 70 of those.
Well, just off the C.S. Lewis. You know what? It's one of those brain fart moments.
Okay, but, all of them you're saying?
Yeah.
The entire. So basically, you're saying the Chronicles of Narnia as a series belongs on everyone.
Yes, I loved the books. Mm-hmm. I loved the movies.
I do too.
But there's certain books that I like to read, and there's certain ones that I like better in movie adaptation. I don't know what it is, but those books, I read the books, but the movies brought it more to life. So, but I like C.S. Lewis. I think that should be on everybody's shelf. Respect.
I actually, and here's another little surprise for you. During the holiday season, when Santa dropped that nice bucket of cash down my chimney, and I said, you know what? I'm going to take this money. I'm going to go to my supermarket. I'm going to get an Amazon gift card. I'm going to come back to my computer system, and I'm going to buy up a whole bunch of books, Cyndi. And one of the first books I bought was the anniversary edition hardcover of the Chronicles of Narnia, the complete series.
Yeah.
Special edition hardcover with sprayed edges on the pages.
That is so popular right now. The sprayed edges and everything.
Yeah, it's where did we put it? Did we put it somewhere where we can? No, unfortunately, it's on the other side of the studio. But still, I got that because I said, look, I grew up reading bits and pieces of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I've seen the BBC adaptation of Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe from the 80s. That's going back a couple years. And then I saw the remake/reboot from Walt Disney Pictures that they came out with in the early 2000s, Cyndi, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Yep. The follow-up to that was Prince Caspian, and then the sequel that came after that was The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. And I've watched all 3. I enjoyed all 3, but I'm like, you know what? C.S. Lewis has come up a lot lately, and I haven't read any of his books. You know what I should do? I should respect some of the original writers of their time and go back and read this stuff, because I love the movies, and I'm fascinated by the characters and the adventure and how they got into these situations, things like that. Plus, it's a learning experience. So I went ahead and bought the Ultimate Edition hardcover of the Chronicles of Narnia, Cyndi. So don't worry. As soon as I start reading Chronicles of Narnia, I will email/text you and be like, "Hey, my BFF Cyndi, what's up? I just want to let you know I finally started reading C.S. Lewis."
Yeah. So you agree with me then? It should be on everybody's shelf.
I mean, I haven't read it yet, but I guess technically yes.
But it's on your shelf.
It is on my shelf. It is. It's not on this one over here. It's sitting off to the side here on this
It
table.
must have been important enough for you to go through the Amazon jungle.
I did. Yeah, I did. You're right. It is. It was. And I got it over here. Over here on this side of the room. But anyway, I could show it to you after the show because I don't want to. I don't want to disrupt the continuum of the show here. But yeah, my TBR is pretty extensive. But aside from that,
that's okay. That's good.
I have a T-shirt that says "So many books, so little time."
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the truth?
Mine would be so many books, so little time then to read.
No, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Just an extension of that, yes.
Yeah.
Well, gee, there was a meme that came out about 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and they said, what land would you want to live in for the rest of your life? And there are these memes that says, would you want to live in the land of Twilight? No, I'm good. Pan Am from the Hunger Games? No, I'm good. Narnia? Absolutely. And all these different, kingdoms. For example, the Shire from Lord of the Rings. Sure,
yes.
I would live there. Why wouldn't I? Although you got to worry about the horsemen coming through and, cutting people's heads off looking for Shia Baggins. Just worry about the ring race.
Yeah. Even though I do like Twilight, I would choose the land of Narnia over that. There's something about getting bit, that I just...
Yeah.
In the Vulture, I don't really like that.
Yeah, I can understand that. So yeah, I would pick Narnia over the other one any day of the week. Twice I'll say that. But once again, it's only because I have a little bit more familiarity with the Chronicles of Narnia, more so than the Twilight Saga. Sorry, but
no. You know what? That's what I think is so beautiful about writers and readers. We respect the boundaries of what the subjective viewpoints that people have and stuff like that. And I think it's important. Not everybody has to like your genre or the book that you write or the choices that you like to read. I think that's the individualism of and what makes us who we are. I think that's important there. So.
Well, she does have a point, folks. This is why we pay our guests the non-existent big bucks on this show. It happens every week, Cyndi. Every single week we're going to be sitting here on Saturdays or certain times of Saturdays and Sundays to have these guests on these shows and just talk about books, writing, reading, some of the other things they're passionate about, whether they're artists, whether they're writers, whether they're, business people, whatever it is. There's
Yes.
So, it's the old expression, so much to do in so little time. It's just, one of those things, and I'm trying to remember who said this. It was last year, if I remember correctly, was the 75th anniversary of the release of Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Wow. He was in a book club with Lucas. And I mean, there was.
Well, and C.S. Lewis was in a club with J.R.R. Tolkien of the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah, there's just, it's interesting how they built their own little community and how popular each of their genres became in books and stuff.
Look how influential they've been in the last 75 years with C.S. Lewis's works and J.R.R. Tolkien from Lord of the Rings. I mean, people talk about C.S. Lewis and Tolkien every single time, and that's because their work has stood the test of time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Graham, me personally, and someone has said this to me a little while ago, I haven't read the Lord of the Rings because I just feel like it's a little too heavy for me. I don't know if I could read it and get through it or not. I don't know. But I would be willing to give The Fellowship of the Ring a chance because The Fellowship of the Ring is my favorite movie of the trilogy.
Okay.
So maybe I should sit down and read The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. I do know I can get a paperback copy from, certain website that's not a sponsor of this show. But, hey, I don't know. I don't know. Anything can happen, folks. Anything can happen. You know what else can happen? The fact that we're going to extend our deepest gratitude to Cyndi Brec for being our guest on this week's episode of And I Quote. Cyndi, thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your schedule to talk with us and share more about your books, your series, what you have planned for the future and all that wonderful stuff. And yes, you are a talker, but in the best sense possible. Now, if someone wants to know more about you and purchase copies of your books, where can they follow you?
Well, they can definitely follow me on Amazon, Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I just got on Pinterest, so that's something. But you want to look for me also at my website, www.cyndibrec.com. And I'm most active on Facebook and Instagram, though. But also my books, they're on Amazon, and they're actually in some bookstores. So the independent bookstores, because I am an indie author. So.
Awesome sauce. Well, thank you so much for being here, Cyndi. I'm going to talk to you here again momentarily. So stick around, grab some food and drinks in our non-existent realistic, but it's a virtual green room. Get with it, folks. Feel free to grab some stuff back there. Just throw it out there. But my name is Ryan of And I Quote Channel. Follow me across all forms of social media simply at, where am I pointing to? Where is it? There it is. At And I Quote Channel. That's where you can keep up to date on all the latest shows, all the latest pieces of programming and projects we have coming your way very soon. Also, we're on our way to 5,000. And once we hit 5,000 subscribers, that is, we're going to have a live stream celebration that will include special giveaways that you, the person who's watching or listening to this program right now, are going to be eligible to win. Also, we have merch that's on our Redbubble store. We have shirts, hoodies, stickers you can add to your water bottles, coffee mugs, and all kinds of wonderful things. Link is in our social media bio, also located in the description of this video down below. My short story called Wolf of the West, which is a good old-fashioned Western, saddle up, is a part of the great anthology published by Veritas Entertainment, simply known as Western Tales Volume 1. Links to it are in my bio. Also, link is located in the description of this video, and you can buy it in ebook, paperback, or hardcover format, whichever one you choose. Hey, that's up to you. We will leave it up to you. And don't forget, And I Quote is normally on Saturdays, 12 o'clock Eastern time, and the movie watch-alongs are on Friday nights at 7 o'clock Eastern time. And then other forms of programming will be updated as soon as we get those links. We will put them on our YouTube channel. So make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when the videos go up or they go live. Remember, life is better when supporting indie creators from all over the world, I should say, excuse me. And hey, take a look at these fine folks.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.